So, Christmas is coming, and I've got some of my favourite topical books, both new and old, that I'd like to recommend so you can read them or give them away this year. So firstly, Isaiah by the Day and Psalms by the Day from Alec. These two books my wife and I got for Christmas last year, and they're among my most appreciated Christmas gifts ever. Alec was a well-loved Old Testament scholar and commentator who wrote several commentaries on Isaiah alone. And these books combine the best of his scholarship with real warm devotional insight. So you get his own translation of the text, followed by a short but wonderfully encouraging devotional comment. Now, this book really brought Isaiah alive to me last Christmas, so much so that it relegated my holiday novel to the back of the queue while I worked my way through it, and I really can't recommend this highly enough. Next up, O Love That Will Not Let Me Go, edited by Nancy Gutherie. This is a book about death, specifically how Christians can face death with confidence. Clearly topical right now. Now, as much as we hate to talk about death, this book shows us the best way to face the awful truth with a Christian mind. It's not so much a book to give to someone who's ill, but one to read now to prepare for when suffering comes. Now, Nancy Gutherie, the editor, lost a young child herself, and she selects short readings from theologians, pastors, and from sufferers, from Martin Luther to Joni Eareckson Tada, that help us to see death from a uniquely Christian perspective. So, next, a trio of books by Rosaria Champagne Butterfield. The Secret Thoughts of an Unlikely Convert, Openess, Unhindered, and The Gospel Comes with a House Key. These books are by a former lesbian professor of queer theory and tell the story of her conversion to Christ and the upheaval that it caused her, driving a train wreck through her life, she says. She courageously lifts the lid on her inner life and invites us to take a look. And she champions the need to preach the good news of Christ without softening his call to repentance. But she does something else too. As an outsider, she views us with fresh eyes. And so, especially in the third book, The Gospel Comes with a House Key, she challenges us to live out the gospel more thoroughly, particularly to open up our homes and our messy lives. And she does it all with wit, with grace, and with a real ear for a good story. Don't read these if you want to remain comfortable, but if you're serious about following Jesus, don't miss them. Finally, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl by Harriet Jacobs, and Cry, the Beloved Country by Paton. This is my copy of Cry, the Beloved Country. It's done a few years. Now, in a year when race riots and protests have broken out around the world, here's two books to help us to understand the impacts of race and racism. One set in apartheid area South Africa, and the other a true story from an escaped slave from America's South. And if you wonder why people are so angry, these stories are a shot of reality. I found Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl particularly confronting, especially the scandal of slaves' children being taken and sold generation after generation. And it's shocking the way that professing Christians played a huge part in perpetrating this wicked system. And it makes me ask, what evils are we missing in our blind spots today? Wonderfully, both books also show the power of the gospel, of kindness, generosity, and particularly of forgiveness. And reading them can help us to learn to exercise all three. So there you go, thoroughly recommend all those books. Let's get reading.